fitting way to start. We love Fragers. Let's do it again. We love Fragers. 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 And we love Fragers so much that we're not going to let a fire stop us, are we? No way. No chance. We're too strong, too resilient here in this city and in this community to let something like a 4-alarm fire bring us down. There is no way, ladies and gentlemen. You know, you find out after 93 years, don't we all know what an important part of our life, an important part of our community, an important part of our city, Frager's Hardware is in this city? Isn't it fantastic? I would have my Frager shirt on. I'm going to figure out how to get it on before we finish. I just came from a church service, which they probably would have said, "Wow, you have Fragers," you know. And by the way, the church service I was in was on North Capitol Street, and Fragers was mentioned during that church service. I want to thank John Weintraub for 37 years of ownership of Fragers. Fragers, of course, has been with us for 93 years here in the city on Capitol Hill. And John Weintraub has been with it for 37 years. I was with him part of the time the other night on June 5th, and you could see the love that he has for this business. You could just hear it. You could feel it. And I'm glad that we can be here today with not only John, but also the staff of Fragers as well. Founded in 1920, right? Was anybody here at the opening of Fragers? And that, John, I didn't say that, John. I didn't say that. I don't think anybody could come to Fragers without knowing the unique nature of Fragers, and that is, you know what? These other places, I guess they're okay, but is there a place where you can walk in and say, "I have the following problem. Can you help me solve that problem?" And folks would knowledgeably stand there and talk to you. And I have been able to do that myself. I remember going in. I didn't even have the light bulb, and it was this unusually shaped light bulb. And here I am standing there talking to somebody, trying to describe, inartfully, trying to describe this light bulb that I needed. And you know, the person listened very carefully, and in about 60 seconds, here was the light bulb in my. I'm telling you, there's no place else you can go and be able to get that. And we're going to make sure that we have 93 more years of Fragers in the District of Columbia. I think we can adopt the statement that says Fragers will rise again. Yeah, starting today. I want to thank Brian Hanlon, who's the director of our Department of General Services, who lives right here on Capitol Hill. Brian, where are you, Brian? You know, within a matter of hours after this fire, we said, you know, we've got to do something for Fragers. We've got to make sure that Fragers continues to be a part of our city. And I turned to Brian and said, Brian, we got to figure this out. And within a matter of hours, we had figured out how to be here today. So Brian Hanlon, thank you so much for being a great leader of the Department of General Services. And I also have to recognize Nick Majette as well. Nick is the director of our Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs. He does a great job. They have an important role to play in the future of Fragers as well, including putting the fence around Fragers as we work with the building that is there. You know, can we also take a moment to thank the members of our fire and emergency medical services? Yep. You know, they are true experts. They truly get it done. I was out there with them for a number of hours the night of the fire, and you know, with Chief Donnelly and the other battalion chiefs, fire chiefs who were out there. It was just just amazing to watch how they deployed themselves, how they got it done. And I got to tell you, this was a bad fire, but it could have been the consequences could have been a lot worse than what they were. We had nobody injured, you know, and who's a part of the Frager staff. Nobody else. We had two firefighters who incurred injuries, not life-threatening by any stretch of the imagination. Two firefighters who were there helping to fight this fire. And again, I don't think I can say it enough times that the FMES did a fantastic job of working to put this fire out, especially recognizing the role that Fragers has played on Capitol Hill and in the District of Columbia. So we can have another big hand for them. You know, some of you are undoubtedly aware that we are working to create a new presence, if you will, on our St. Elizabeth's campus, which is on the east end of the District of Columbia. And one of the things we're doing, we just came back from the shopping center convention. One of the things we're doing is trying to get businesses who may be skeptical about locating there to consider doing a pop-up business. Now, the pop-up concept is not known to a lot of people. Essentially, what it is saying that you don't have to invest a lot of money initially. We will do whatever we can to try to make available to you opportunities to let people know what your business is. We met with folks like Starbucks and others out there where we said that we're going to, we're going to make space available to you to help serve the people from the Coast Guard and others. And the reason why I say that is because that's exactly what we're trying to do here. We are bringing the pop-up concept here so that in just 3 or 4 days after this tragic fire occurred, we are going to have a pop-up Fragers. It will be our first pop-up in the District of Columbia. You know, the plants survived. And now they are back, repatriated with Fragers. But it's now time for you all to take these plants home, right? So John, will people have the opportunity to take plants home today if they want to buy a plant from Fragers?
Absolutely.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome John Weintraub. Fragers is open for business today.
In 1969, in the Mekong Delta, Republic of Vietnam, Edwin Copenhaver and I were lying on the cold, hard steel deck of an 82-foot patrol boat. 50 caliber machine guns were blazing, mortars were popping around us. The Viet Cong were putting out AK-47 fire on us from the banks of the Mekong, and smell of cordite was in the air. And should I start over? Yeah. But anyway, the 50 caliber machine guns were blazing, and Viet Cong were pouring out the fire. So I turned to Ed and said, if we ever get out of this here alive, let's open a hardware store. So that's what we did in 1975. And been here ever since. I'd like to thank all of our friends and neighbors and longtime customers for coming out. And it means a great deal to us. And the entire Frager family has been overwhelmed by the support from you all. Frager family right over here, and Frager staff. Yeah, and they're the ones who put everything here together. We're reminded that we're a very special community here, and we serve a very special community. They value us so much. We thank Mayor Gray, Councilman Wells for helping to make this day possible. They did it in record time. getting us here so we can continue to operate, get some income. We got zero income since the fire, of course. And thank you for being patient while we set up. It took us a while to get all these goods from the side lot to here, and it's a big undertaking. And people kept saying, you know, I hear you're going to open soon. I hear you're going to open on Saturday. Now we got to get the stuff over here, and we got to get things up and running, and we got to be able to sell the product. Our intent is to rebuild the garden part. Hey! And Mayor Gray has streeted the pop-up concept, which I think is wonderful, because we can do the same with the store. We've got many businesses. We've got a paint store. We make keys. People come up to us, we're going to get keys made now, or you know, and I say I don't know yet, but we hope we can maybe get a key shop going. We have a paint store. We got our garden going, so it won't be everything, but it'll be some things. And so we hope to be back in certain departments soon. And finally, these plants have made it through the fire. Like they said, they're the survivors, and so's Frager's. And also, as a token of our thanks to you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to present a survivor present to you.
You know what? This is one of the best things that I've been a part of since I've been doing this. You know, I'm sorry that it's happened, but you guys are more than deserving.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. Thank you. And then I have one for Councilman Wells. Uh-oh, that was a real gaffe. Oh, God. I'll never. Oh, okay.
And this is for Eleanor.
Yeah, and Eleanor Holmes Norton gave me a call. She's a customer of the store and a survivor flower. So, thank you.
Well, thank you, John. Thank you, John Weintraub, for what you've done for the Capitol Hill community today. You know, it's one thing to mouth the cliche, Frager's will rise again. It's another thing to see it rise again 3 days after being burned down. And I love it that the mayor is going to apply the pop-up concept to be used across the street from where we're building the Homeland Security Complex, right here, quick, to test it out. I certainly want to thank our firefighters. You know, a lot of men and women risk their lives to save Frager's for us. And I want to remember that. I mean, I live just around the corner on 9th Street. I arrived home from one of the few bipartisan events of the 113th Congress. Democrats and Republicans went to a Nats-Mets baseball game, and we lost. But it was all in good fun, and I was feeling so good. And then I smelled this pungent odor, and I can tell you that it lasted throughout the night. The city warned people to go in and stay in and put on their air conditioners. Now, while we were staying in, there were some men and women going in. And we very much appreciate what they did, and I certainly want to say them right now. And I want to say to our firefighters, it's something of an omen that the fire stopped where the plants began. and the fire stopped at that old wooden building that we love so much. but it is a kind of omen because here are the flowers out here and more of them today. But my friends, it certainly is not lost on us who made this trip just a few years ago after our beloved Eastern Market burned. And now to hear see another beloved institution burn hits us in our heart and our gut at the same time. You know, when I thought about why do we have these fires on Capitol Hill, I think it's because we're one of the oldest communities in the District of Columbia. It is this community that has so many of the wonderful parts of the district that remain standing. So, like the rest of us, I guess they give up the ghost sometime. But this community refuses to let Capitol Hill institutions die. Now, I recognize the difference between a publicly owned facility, our Eastern Market, and Frager's. We, of course, had a public responsibility for this public facility. We also felt we had a responsibility for it. And it's that responsibility I want us to think about today as we think about Frager's. Now, you know, John Weintraub had obviously, some insurance. It is his responsibility. But when you become a neighborhood institution, I'm afraid, my friends, the responsibility must be shared. Now, there's been a lot of outpouring of love for Frager's. That's the first thing you do when a friend is injured. I've been guilty of that myself. Frager's burned one night. The next afternoon, I was on the house floor pouring out love. I made a speech on the house floor about Frager's. I tried to make the house understand what a neighborhood institution was, even though it was a private business. I talked about why we shopped at Frager's in the midst of the era of mega hardware stores. I talked about how you could get at Frager's what you couldn't begin to get in one of those stores. I talked about what it takes to survive in such an era as this. And if you will pardon me, because I couldn't say this on the House floor, I know that John Weintraub is not going to build a mega hardware store to replace megas. I know that for sure. Because Frager's is always tailored to our neighborhood needs, our quirky neighborhood needs, with our historic houses, where I live in one of those. Try going to Home Depot to get what you need in one of our houses. We need Frager's. If Frager's needs us, I am here this afternoon to tell Frager's for sure we need Frager's. Now, as a member of Congress who can't get 2 cents out of the House of Representatives, I nevertheless feel a responsibility to help Frager's get built. I am told that the Community Foundation has a tent right out there so that we will be able to put our money where our mouth is, not only here, but out there, so that when Frager's is rebuilt, we can say, this is the Frager's that not only the Frager's built and that Weintraub built, but that the community built. The community helped build this. It won't be hard if all of us decide that this is a collective community responsibility, not out of charity, my friends, but because a neighborhood institution is one that has served the institution so long that we have come to depend upon it. When Frager's was 90 years old, I was so impressed to live in a neighborhood that had a store that had survived 90 years, that had went on the floor to talk about Frager's then. And then I took a plaqued copy of my remarks and presented it to Frager's. If you didn't throw it in with all the rest of the stuff in the aisles, then it surely burned up. So I was so heartbroken that not only did I send my remarks to John Weintraub from last week, I emailed an old copy of those remarks just a few years ago when Frager's turned 90. Now, what is Frager's, 93? 93 now. And we've seen John take Frager's seamlessly from its owners to the same Frager's it was then. Now, if it's 93 now, let us pledge this afternoon that well before Frager's hits the century mark, we will rebuild Frager's.
You know, I should have mentioned earlier, we also have our director of the Department of Employment Services out here, Lisa Mallory. And what we're going to do is work with John Weintraub so that in the interim, as we figure out the next steps, we'll be able to make sure that the employees of Frager's have a chance to apply for unemployment insurance and that they will not be out of income. They will be able to get a source of income. And, you know, and if in the interim there are some who will want to work, because we know they're all coming back to Frager's, right? Yeah. Everybody's coming back to Frager's, right? Yeah. That if they are in need of assistance with employment in the interim, we're going to help do that as well. So we're going to try to make this pathway as easy as we possibly can for the future of Frager's. I hope we're all looking forward to 2020. 2020 is the 100th anniversary of Frager's, and we'll do that with Frager's having been in its new store, newly rebuilt store, then of course already for a number of years. So we're going to do a ribbon cutting out here as well. We get a countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.